been duped, the hard, the hard. You never thought that hip hop would take it this far.
Salute, sir. Hey, no, thank you for joining us, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I appreciate it. How about you guys?
Good. We're watching the weigh-in live.
I thought the weigh-in was at 4
o'clock. You catch
o'clock.
any of the weigh-in?
I thought it was at 4 p.m.
No, it's already good.
I'm on Pacific time.
Well, it's on Pacific time because it's in Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
right.
Hopefully there's no surprises. Hopefully everyone makes weight. Again, it's a catch weight fight. So hopefully you got Ryan. But Ryan just came. I mean, 2 years ago he was at 135. I don't think he's aged that much in 2 years where metabolism is slowed that much down. Or what do you think?
He made it pretty good. He weighed 35 and a half, David?
Yeah, it was 135 and a half.
Oh, is it official already?
It's official. He made the weight. He looked strong. He didn't look like a zombie or anything like that.
So what was the max he could rehydrate?
10 pounds. So 146.
So he still has to eat rabbit food. Chinga.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Exactly, bro. Exactly.
Yeah, you can't blow
that
up.
That was David's concerns. David thinks he's going to have a big impact on the fight. What do you think?
You know what? First off, I want to go ahead and say, let me say this first off, okay? Because there wasn't really a formal introduction to Putasos and Pendejadas. So I want to say thank you so much for inviting me to the platform. Cabron, when you told me, Mark, you're going to be starting something like this, I said, this thing is blowing up. It is Mark, it is Mr. Popular, Mr. Pelea, Mr. Boxing. So you have a picture with pretty much every pinchy superstar in boxing. You have a picture with every head coach in boxing, the who's who. So I'm excited to follow your channel and to see what interviews you have coming up in the very future. So thank you again, first off, you and De Leon. And then let's go ahead and get into the Putasos. So this is a very interesting fight. He just moved up 2 fights ago to junior welterweight, I think 140. So I don't think it's that much hard of a weight cut, even though when Ryan Garcia cuts weight, he looks like sticks and stones. It's bien flat, right? It's a hard fight to call because I think Ryan Garcia wants what Gervonta Tank Davis already has. He has on his resume knocking out world champions. And I think this is a moment for him to shine. This is it. This is the epitome, the pinnacle of his career. 23 fights. I don't want to say 23 have been no-namers or botes. They've all been a fight. Any fight can end in one punch. But this is the pinnacle of his career. I believe if Ryan Garcia wins, he will be the face of boxing immediately, overnight, and his stock just goes right through the roof. But there's a but. The person standing across the ring is a monster. Okay. He hit Leo Santa Cruz so hard, Santa Cruz had to take like 16 months off. Just to wake up.
That was a nasty knockout, man.
That was a nasty punch, and he's a high IQ fighter. That means as the fight progresses, he's already has studied you. The more time you have in the ring with him is the less chance of you being successful against him, because obviously his high IQ, and then of course you have corners that make adjustments. I get nervous with Garcia. He drops his hands.
He has a lot of flaws.
He does. The reason he does that is because his confidence level is so high. Why? And so usually with talented fighters like him, you like Gervonta Tank Davis told Joe Goosen, if you were so good of a trainer, you would have, helped him on his fundamentals. He has no fundamentals. Well, when someone is that talented, you usually don't try to reinvent the wheel. You usually just try to build off of what their talent are because they're special. And I still coach amateur boxing. I still corner amateur fighters. I know he had several national titles.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people overlook that. And it's funny now because Raleigh only had like 30 amateur fights before he went pro. Anyways, with my head, if I were a betting man, right now I think Vegas has Gervonta Tank Davis negative 280. With my head, if I were a betting man, I would say Davis in 6. In my heart, porque soy chicano hasta el puro pinche hueso. I want Garcia to win. I want Garcia to win. But I think Vegas odds have it correct. I think it's Davis by 8 rounds.
8 rounds. Okay. David, what do you think?
I also think you're spot on by saying Davis's IQ is a lot higher. And I think a lot of people, they miss that point. They see the knockout, right? And they think, oh, he's just a power puncher. He's a brawler, but that's not true. The man knows how to use movements. He knows how to, he's a counter puncher. And he, like you're saying, he studies the fighters throughout the fight, and he's downloading data every round. And he's looking for that one thing that, or a couple things to exploit. And so he's a counter puncher at heart. And so I think the confidence that you say that Ryan has, which causes him to do those things that he's not supposed to do, that's going to catch up with him. And I can see that same thing happening. Not to mention the weight, the possible effects of having that rehydration clause. Ryan might not be 100%. He's going to get kind of tired if he makes it into those middle rounds. Fatigue makes cowards of us all, right? And those flaws will become even like more glaring. Davis is going to find an opening, and then it's night. So I see the same way. I actually like your mid-round KO pick. I'm going to have to agree with that.
Okay, well, I disagree with both of you. I usually gauge fights, but I usually gauge fights and David taught me this one. Usually the guy who has the biggest or longest or strongest amateur career is going to be the winner, right? Usually in all fights. But in this one, both of them have over 200 fights. Both of them have a lot of success, so you can't really gauge it that way. Both of them have equal talents and speed, and I believe both of them have equal power. Gervonta probably has a little bit more. Knowledge goes Gervonta's way also. But the reason I disagree is because of the height. I don't think Gervonta's power is going to follow the height. Also, when emotions are high, knowledge is low, and you said Gervonta has high boxing knowledge. And today, I didn't want to make a prediction till today. Today, I saw it. Me and David saw it. Gervonta lost it.
Yeah.
He lost it during the weigh-in. He was not there mentally. Ryan was the one that was super calm. He didn't look drained. Both of them didn't look drained at all. Both of them looked like they trained and they're perfect. But the mindset, and yesterday in the final press conference, Gervonta is usually always kind of quiet and chuckles, and he was very emotional. Today he was extra emotional, showed it, pushed. He's lucky Bernard Hopkins didn't knock the block out of all of his trainers, because Bernard,
he was getting into it with Bernard.
But I think emotions are high. His knowledge is not going to be there because the emotions are high, the height, and that quick left hook is going to end it. Now, Mike, we know you don't have a lot of time. We had a few questions ready for you.
Yeah.
We appreciate you being here. Just some simple questions for you. We know you wear a lot of hats. You're a YouTuber, photographer, wedding planner, wedding DJ, videographer. You do it all. One of the most special things that you do, though, is your help with guiding the kids in juvenile hall, man. That's really special. Thank you for that. But we wanted to talk to you about your boxing career, man. When did you start training, and what brought you to the sport? And who was your favorite boxer as a child?
So that happened back in 2008. In 2008, people that know me from my YouTube channel know my background, know my history. Basically, I had just come home. And after a while, you get so used to exercise routines. You've seen it. I'm sure we all have someone in the family that went away. You've seen the patterns, right? They come home. They want to keep exercising. They want to keep exercising, and these little kind of habits that usually trail off and fade away, right? So I wanted to keep exercising. I went to an MMA gym, okay? A buddy of mine, he said, yeah, I'll give you a one-on-one. No, but he flipped me in the air like a quarter, and I landed, and I said, this is not for me. So I Googled, I Googled boxing gyms in my area and immediately got plugged in. Yeah, but here I am almost 30 years old. Now, the thing about boxing gyms is, us guys, testosterone, you see guys throwing chingazos. The coach looks at you and says, you want to get in? All of a sudden everyone's looking at you, pride, ego,
pressure.
everything. I was scared. My heart was beating. My head, I said yes, but my head was telling me, man, what'd you get into? They're all lions, right? So immediately I started sparring these guys, and I'm sparring. I don't know fighting growing up. And as I'm sparring these guys are getting ready for fights. These are amateur fights. It's USA boxing, right? So in amateur boxing is not like MMA, where everyone has different circuits and regions and leagues. No, everyone's under one umbrella. It's called USA boxing. So every major pro boxer, no matter who, De La Hoya, Tyson, all fell under one umbrella, USA boxing. So all of a sudden, for me, training guys in their training camps to just getting the license and getting in there. Now I got a little tired after a while because I kept fighting 17-year-olds. Here I kept fighting 19-year-olds, a 23-year-old. I got sat down like 2 or 3 times. I gotta admit it. You don't lie.
Bro, you got back up.
The internet shows their best moments on the internet. Okay, everyone shows when they win, but no one shows when they lose. I'm gonna let you know. My L's, I got sat down. Okay, one of them I ran back. The other one, I couldn't hate on him because he went to win Golden Gloves, so I didn't want to run that one back. I'm gonna let him handle his business. Do what you do, Malachi out of Stockton. Do what you do, Malachi. He sat me down. So I got involved in that and just kept it going till had like 23 amateur fights.
Wow.
My last one was just in 2019, the year before COVID, because they opened up a master's division that was like 35 to 45. And I thought, oh, this is more fair. Now I can at least fight people that are closer to my age. Got to love the sport, talking to coaches about the sport. All we do is go and hang out there. It's almost like a gentleman's club. You can go and hang out there and just talk boxing, talk peleas. And at the same time, the youngsters are coming over, which these are at-risk youth. Salinas has a huge gang problem. It's just plagued the city for decades, man. There's just countless homicides, and most of them gang-related. So that's my civic work that I try to do. My little small grain of sand to return back to the community is what I do. At the same time, stay involved in the events, keep the lights on, donate something every month just to keep the lights on and the doors open. And that's what I'm doing now. But I've never been to a pro like you, Mark. I've never been to a pro boxing event. I know you have. I've seen the pictures. I follow you on IG.
Yeah, actually, David right there is my travel buddy. We've been to a lot of fights together.
Okay.
Pretty much every fight you've seen me at, he's been there with me. Yeah, we would travel fights. That's all we would do. Follow boxing, travel fights, look for people to take pictures with, try to find people who are signing gloves. And, we've just always been really into it, though.
And I didn't know anything about boxing growing up. Porque, growing up, me and my friends, we just hung out in driveways and we were up to no good. The very first boxing fight we never went to Las Vegas. I got married in 2004. My wife was like, you ever been to Vegas? I'd never been to Vegas. I'm just hanging out in driveways doing what we did here. The very first fight I actually saw was when I got married. It was at my suegra's house, and it was Hopkins and De La Hoya.
Oh, shit.
That was the very first one. I felt his pain. I felt his pain on the camera. He was stretching himself like yoga, it was so bad. I was like, whoa, that intrigued me right away. And then it started, let's get into this. But I never fought growing up. I fought when I had to, don't get me wrong, but I wasn't, I got hands or nothing like that. I did it with all the fundamentals I had to learn almost at 30 years old. And now I just love traveling. I love seeing fights. I used to order one every month. Now I just pick which fights to order. And this one tomorrow night is a mega fight, even though there's no belts on the line. Okay, you got two of the best fighters on the planet. That I give a lot of credit to Oscar De La Hoya for making this fight happen, because now that I hear all the demands and all the agreements and negotiations, they had to take the B side and the negative on the negotiations to make the fight happen. Some people won't fight,
Wouldn't do that. Yeah.
their way. And that's bad for the sport because we get less fights as fans. I give a lot of credit to Oscar De La Hoya and the negotiations, even though they took the B side on the fight to make it happen. And here we are.
You got to give credit to Ryan too, because he's the one that kept saying yes, right? And even though like he knows, he stated multiple times, I don't want to fight at 135 anymore. And he said, yo, if you don't want to fight at 140, I could do 136.
He's not at 135 2 years ago. I mean, you think his metabolism spiked, but
he's growing, man. He's a growing boy. He's tall for that weight class.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he's gonna end up at 147.
Easy.
I know. Yeah. He walks around about at 180. He walks around 180. That's a lot. The most I ever cut on a fight, like a 48-hour fast, was 12 pounds, and I was hurting.
See, yeah, man, that weight cut is no joke, right?
It is.
I've never had to do it, but I had two brothers that wrestled, and they had to make weight for in high school, and I saw, man, I'd be waking up early in the morning running with them, and I saw the struggle, so it's real.
Mike, you started boxing kind of late, right, Mike? You started at about 30. 30. And you had some success. You have some belts. You won some hardware. Do you ever think how good you would have been if you would have started at 6?
I do and I don't. I don't want to. I can't picture myself being, oh man, I was gonna be the next. I'm tall. I'm 6 feet. So I'm lanky. I have my dad's body. You know, I'm like Sebastian Fundora. I would have been like another Sebastian Fundora who just got dropped.
Did you see that? Wow. Knockout of the year, I think, brother.
I wouldn't have seen myself like that. I had only 3 losses out of 23 fights, so it went good for me. My biggest accomplishment was winning a tournament. It was called, I don't know, did you ever hear about the tournament? He passed away, the founder of it. It was called the Desert Showdown. It was in Indio. Ralph Romero, huge tournament, Indio amateurs. The best amateurs across the country came. There was only 3 in my bracket. I was kind of thankful about that because the more in the bracket, you got to fight the next day. And then the next day, it was one of those. I only had to fight back-to-back 2 days. That one, I weighed 147. My very first amateur fight, though, I fought at 39. I did a test cut. I guess I can discipline myself. Like, I just have that in me. It's like extra willpower. And I'm like, I'll make it. From 55, I can make 39. And I made it. But then after that, 42, 45, 47, 55, and my last one, 65, because here I am getting to 40. Now, with Ryan Garcia, in 2 years, you think that much of a fall off? I mean, come on, I'm talking 10 years.
That's fine. Yeah. Look, think about it, man. He's a really muscular dude. He doesn't have a lot of fat to burn off. So he's burning muscle at some point.
Yeah.
And he's growing. So that means, you know, he really should be a lot heavier than that.
And also at that tournament, the Desert Showdown in Indio, I was 7 years into amateur boxing. That was the first time in 7 years. I'm talking about every pinchy fight. I'm fighting every 3 months. In 7 years, first time I fought a Mexicano. I don't know why. They always stuck me with brothers. I always fight. Shout out to the black brother. You already know what it is. Shout out to all my black brothers. But I never fought a Mexican until that tournament. And then he passed away, the founder of the tournament, from cancer. His daughter, I forgot her name, held the tournament one more time. People love that tournament because they had really good belts. The quality of the leather belts that Ralph Romero at the Desert Showdown were badass ones. It's kind of like the El Monte amateur fights, the ones that have the ones that look like the WBC belts, but they're not. But you know, people want the hardware because it's a great memory for the hard work you put in and stuff like that. So that was the best memory that I had, at least winning 2 days. Here I am, almost 40 years old, fighting 19-year-olds. And you know what? If I couldn't outfight you, I put my mind to it. I was going to outwork you. and I'm in the Pinnacles in Soledad with the elevation mask. I'm really taking it to that level. You know what I mean? I remember I used to run up the hills at Pinnacles, and it used to be private properties, puros pinches caballos and horses down there, and the ranchers would be on their horses, and they look up at me with just Nike shorts, no shirt, and a mask, and they're like, "Oh, this guy's not trying to take our cattle. You know, let him do whatever he wants. This guy's crazy. He's just running up, and as soon as he gets down the hill, he starts running up again. As soon as he, so running 45s.
Yeesh, man. And you had the mask, like you were taking that real serious.
I had to, because the youngsters can wake up with eating McDonald's and still have a six-pack and eating McDonald's and they cut weight like nothing. Most of them didn't have to cut weight. I would gain 20, 25 pounds from just eating chocolates and syrup and until my coach told me, don't do that no more. That's why you're hurting on the cut. And I was like, plus now I have to discipline myself even off season. Right. So it takes a lot.
Yeah, that's pretty tough to do in your 30s. Hey, we had a quick fun deal here for you since you're in the Bay Area, Mike. Quick fun deal here. We came up with 5 of, I guess, the best Bay Area fighters. We thought, real quick, you don't have a lot of time. You wear a lot of hats, and you probably got to get ready for the night I'm in, right? 5 out of these 5, rank them in the Bay Area. Nonito Donaire, Andre Ward, Robert Guerrero, Diego Corrales, and Tony the Tiger Lopez.
It would be Andre Ward, number 1. It would be number 2 is a hard. Number 2 is a toss-up. Give me Nonito on number 2 because he's still in the mix. He had a great comeback. The people thought he fell off, and he came back like whoo. And the rest of them, I'm not too familiar with, so I gotta rank them somewhere. Right. Oh, Ghost. Yeah, Ghost was good. Floyd really put a clinic on him. And then didn't he have a comeback fight that he won recently?
He did beat
somebody retired and came back. He didn't retire and come back?
I think he took a long break and he came back.
Diego Corrales was the guy that fought Castillo in that great comeback.
I think Floyd put a left hook. Wasn't he the one that he kept checking his body, and then when he checked the body, he went upstairs? Yeah. I remember Diego. So, but you're putting me in, cabron, you're putting me in the Bay Area. I'm not in the Bay Area. I'm in Salas. I'm in Salinas.
Well, there isn't too many.
I'm over here con los campesinos. I'm with the farm workers. I'm in the middle of California. I'm actually considered the central.
You gotta forgive him, man. He skipped geography class in high school.
The central. We're exactly west of Fresno.
Fresno
is so we're like on the dividing line of California. Even though we're considered NorCal, we're actually right on the dividing line. So Salinas fighters, Jose Celaya had 2 belts in 2000 and 2001. He actually got baptized.
He's a welterweight, right?
Yeah, welterweight. He actually got baptized with Robert the Ghost Guerrero. They went to the same church in Gilroy. And Robert the Ghost has visited our gym because Jose now is one of our coaches.
Oh, dope.
Jose Celaya's in our gym. You got the big pictures there. He had the NABO and IBF belt. Karina Moreno, another popular female fighter who had like multiple divisions, maybe at least 3 division world champion. Karina Moreno out of Watsonville. She also comes all the time. She has her own gym, as a lot of fighters do, right? They retire, go into coaching. It seems like the next, it makes sense.
The logical step, right?
Now coach kids and, just make the gym self-sufficient like a business. So we have them right now. Currently, we have RV4, Ruben Villa. Okay. He lost pretty bad too. Navarrete sat him down like twice in like the first 4 rounds.
Oh yeah.
There's no shame in that, man. Navarrete's a beast.
His dad is a very close friend of mine. Where both of us grew up on the streets together. But I'm glad that he put his son in boxing at a very young age. He won tournaments, nationals, Olympic team. And he's on a 2-fight winning streak. But Navarrete, he just has his Navarrete is special.
Yeah.
Ruben Villa is.
Okay. Wow.
Navarrete is a chilang. Navarrete is a chilango.
Yeah, he's from Mexico. Yeah.
Yeah, it's chilango.
Yeah, I like that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen him live. I saw him fight on the undercard of what's the heavyweight Tyson, the Gypsy King. When the Gypsy King fought that Canadian, on the undercard.
Yeah. And, you know, I feel old because, again, I've DJ'd, right? I've DJ'd for a lot of the. Here's a crazy story real quick before I go, and I do got to go like in 5. I used to, when I amateur fought, because I had a background DJing, right, from the 90s, I used to DJ and fight at the same time.
At the same time?
It was crazy. Here I am getting my hands wrapped. The people in the crowd are looking at me because, you know, you just got to hit a chair and the coach starts wrapping you up. And I just do something. And the people are looking at me like, is this guy going to really get in the ring? I did that at least 4 or 5 times until I caught an L. And then my primo was there when I lost that one. And he said, don't do that again. You need to focus 100% of your energy on business at hand. And I was like, yeah, you're right. That's when I stopped doing that. But I've DJ'd for so many young, like Mark Castro. He's another pro. Richard Torres out of Tulare is another pro. I DJ'd for all these youngsters before they even had mustaches and hair on their face. And now I feel old because now they're undefeated pros. Angel Chavez, Jorge Maravillo, all these youngsters. And I'm glad because, you know, people say the sport of boxing is dead. It's not dead. It's more alive than ever. I just wish promoters would make deals so we could see the fights that we want to see.
And Mike, I agree with you 100%, man. People have been saying that boxing's been dead for fucking decades, man. And it's still here.
It's not going anywhere.
It's going anywhere, man.
Yeah.
Mike, thank you. I appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem about that. I appreciate you guys.
No, I know you guys. Why don't you give us a little bit about your? I saw something about an upcoming promotion you're going to do about all women. Tell us a little bit about that.
So a lot of the coaches in the areas, there was an event in the Bay Area that they had before, you know, the sickness went around and everything got shut down. That was called Beautiful Brawlers. It was only for ladies. And then after, you know, everything got lifted and doors were opened up and businesses reopened, that no one has brought that specifically back. So a lot of the coaches in our last event, which was April 15th, they said, why don't we put something together? You know, we're the only gym, and, you know, I take that back. RV4 just got the license. We're the first one to have sanctioned USA boxing events, just because we're blessed with a huge facility, almost 6,000 square feet, 2 rings.
That's Rock Gym, right?
Right, Rock Boxing on Alisal, on East Alisal in Salinas. And so they asked us to host one and put it out there. And each gym already has, that's how the women are coming up. And I'll tell you what, man, a lot of the women throw hands better than some of you vatos. So watch out with those ladies, man. They throw hands. So June 17th, we're going to have our first all-female. I forgot what they titled it. There's already a flyer. But we got shows because USA Boxing mandates you as a club, sanctioned club, to have certain amount of events per year. That's a mandatory minimum. So we got to do a mandatory minimum of 4 events. But for, you know, fundraising purposes, we'll have 6, 7, or 8 events. So that one's going to be a good one. All the ladies, that's going to be in June. But I got something else bubbling in the works, and I'm talking about YouTube fights. I'm talking about YouTube fights. That's what I want to really try to develop, not for the money, not for clout. There's just a lot of people like me and you that would like to see certain gente throw chingazos because they got bad blood, and let them handle it for the tube. And I'm trying to put that together as a promoter, just put it on a silver platter and say, hey, I'll give it to you guys if you guys just pull up. The only thing that's hard about that, Mark and David, is it's hard to deal with non-professionals. It's hard to deal with people that, well, I want this. Well, I won't fight there. Well, I don't know that. It's like most of these guys are from the streets. And so it's hard to deal with non-professionals, but I got a promotional company that I'm trying to get in gear. If I would just get people to sign, be professional, and pull up. because I think we're really missing, just like in pro boxing, we're missing out a lot of fights. I don't ever think Spence is going to fight Crawford. I think that's as hard to make as some of these YouTubers, because egos. So one of the biggest, one of the sayings that we have over our gym door, right over our gym door, is painted right over there. It says, check your ego at the door. We don't want anyone coming in. Oh, I'm somebody. No, you're no one. Everyone goes to the same hole in the ground. We got to stay humble. That's it. It's controlled sparring. It's crazy how some of these gyms will just allow anyone to go in there and just start knocking cats out and all that. And then people start leaving. People get discouraged. That's not the way you develop a fighter. I hate that old school mentality of go get them like a lion. If you're a lion, that's not how you develop a fighter.
It's like throwing them in the pool when they don't know how to swim, right? Like they're trying to learn how to swim. You just throw them in the middle of the pool.
And I see some of these coaches like, yeah, that's it. Yeah, my fighter. And I'm like, no, what you're doing is the opposite of the sport of boxing. There's no honor in that. You want to do that kind of shit, take it to the alley.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Yeah.
One more question about that female event. Will there be any way to check that out online? Like say, some people wanted to look for that.
For sure. So we're all over social media. Probably the biggest platform that they share it on, a lot of groups, a lot of private and public groups, is Facebook. And so head coach, you just follow head coach Danny Corona. Danny Corona is the head coach, Rock Boxing in Salinas, Danny Corona. And he's a social media like that. Means every morning he's posting every group and he's just he does reels. I'm glad he was able to transition from a full-time job and then coaching 4 to 10 o'clock fighters and traveling on the weekends, which was a lot of work for him, a lot of sacrifice for his family, to finally the gym went from 11, 12 of us to now we have over 80 kids and 4 pro boxers and 12.5 amateur boxers. There's something for the ladies, the families. Some of the ladies just want their high school bodies back. They just want to get back in shape. Here you go. Boxing is not like going to these nice air-conditioned gyms where they're looking in the mirrors, they're taking pictures of themselves. That's all good. It looks good for the gram, but it's not real life, and you're not going to get results. And then those guys come to our gym, boxing gym. They come to a boxing gym and think they're in shape. They're inside the puke bucket in like 45 seconds, and then, oh my gosh, and sucking air out of their toes. Boxing, I believe, is the best workout and the best sport. That's why I'm passionate about it.
100%.
I appreciate you guys. David, one more time, Putazos y Pendejadas. Follow the channel on YouTube Landia. I definitely do. I definitely will. Gracias one more time. I appreciate you guys.
All right. Thanks a lot, Mike. Great talking to you, bro.
Thank you. Take care. Thank you very much.